This is our second video on solving simple quadratic equations. The first video we talked our way through ones like this. So how do we solve this? Just as a reminder, we're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give 10 and the same two numbers add together to give 7. I think that's a nice straightforward one. Hopefully realize 5 and 2 are going to work for that. So we've got x plus 2 and x plus 5. That means either x plus 2 equals 0 or x plus 5 equals 0, giving us values then of x equals minus 2 or x equals minus 5. We find the only two numbers in the whole wide world that make this equation work, minus 2 and minus 5, and that's a quadratic equation. Now we're just going to look at a few different types. First of all, this one you may recognize it from factorising the quadratics we had before. It's known as difference between two squares. This is a square, this is a square. But mostly really what you'll notice is there's no x term in the middle. So it can be solved kind of the same way. We're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give minus 100, and the same two numbers add together to give us 0, because there's no x term there in the middle. So those two numbers then are going to be x plus 10 and x minus 10 equals 0. Taking that one further forward then, x plus 10 equals 0 or x minus 10 equals 0 gives us a value then of minus 10 or x equals 10. So those are the two numbers then that will work for this equation here. Try 10 squared obviously gives us 100, take away 100 gives us 0. Minus 10 squared, of course, minus 10 times minus 10 actually gives us a positive, so that gives us 100 as well. Take away 100 gives us 0. Next type, again is slightly different. So this one now has no number term at the end. You'll spot there's a 4 there in front, but that's okay, it won't make any difference really to us. This one we're just going to solve by simple factorising. You don't need to worry really about the two brackets. The only thing that comes out of this one then is going to be an x, and then that's going to be 4x take away 5 equals 0. So this is the other special type, that's why I'm doing it in a separate section here, and there's no number term at the end. If there's no number term, then there's a common factor of x, and that can always come out the front. The way we solve this then is either this equals 0 or the bracket equals 0. So what am I saying? X is 0, that's one of my answers. If you look and see, of course it'll work. Or 4x minus 5 equals 0. This one requires a wee bit of work. We're going to add 5 to both sides. That's going to give me 4x equals 5, and then we're going to divide both sides by 4. And that's going to give us then 5 over 4, or if you want, 1 1/4. So my two answers to this one then are 0 or 1 1/4. The last one that I'd like us to look at then is one that looks a little bit like this. The way we solve quadratic equations is we always get everything to one side and 0 to the other. So if we take away 2x from both sides and take away 24 from both sides, we can rewrite this equation as x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. As I say, there are other ways to solve quadratic equations, but the way we do it is always to get everything to one side and then 0 on the other. Now it's a straightforward one. I hope most people will be able to do it. We're looking for two numbers multiply to give us minus 24, and they add to give us minus 2. So those numbers then are going to be x minus 6, x plus 4 equals 0. That gives me then x minus 6 equals 0, or x plus 4 equals 0. Give us a value then of 6, which would work, and minus 4. So a couple of new types there for us to practice, and there'll be questions on that then coming up.